and 56-year history of academic achievement, excellence, and service. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce to you the candidates from the Graduate College. our commencement, the University Mace, carried by Chief Faculty Marshal, University Professor Dan Robinson, precedes President Lee. Please rise for the procession of the members of the Iowa State University academic community. Iowa State University is very pleased to introduce Grace Warren, music major and a spring 2014 graduate, as the commencement vocalist. Please remain standing as Ms. Warren sings our national anthem.
Please join me in the singing of our national anthem.
What so proudly we
Please be seated. Graduates, family, and friends, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Stephen Leith, President of Iowa State University.
Good evening. It is a pleasure to welcome you to Iowa State University's 2014 Spring Graduate Commencement Ceremony. Iowa State University is one of the nation's most distinguished universities, and tonight, you graduates join the very special group of people who are holders of advanced degrees from this university. We are extremely proud of the role that Iowa State has played in the development of our state, nation, and world, just as we are extremely proud of the people who have graduated from Iowa State and who have led this development. Throughout our history, commencement for recipients of undergraduate and graduate degrees has been the most important event of each year. For our graduates, it represents the culmination of years of hard work and the beginning of a new, exciting journey. For the family and friends of our graduates, it's a time to share in the success that their graduates have achieved and to be recognized for the wonderful support they have provided throughout the years. And for Iowa State University, it represents the successful completion of our most important responsibility to society, that is to educate the next generation of scholars and leaders. We take great pride in that accomplishment and in the achievement by our newest graduates of this very significant educational milestone. Now at this time, I would like to introduce the members of the platform party. Members, please stand when I call your name. Dr. Jonathan Wendell, Distinguished Professor of Liberal Arts and Sciences and Commencement Speaker. Dr. Jonathan Wickert, Senior Vice President and Provost. Dr. David Holger, Associate Provost for Academic Programs and Dean of the Graduate College. Dr. Thomas Hill, Senior Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Kathann Kress, Vice President for Extension and Outreach. Dr. Sarah Nusser, Vice President for Research. Dr. Martino Harmon, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Pamela Anthony, Dean of Students. Dr. Wendy Winterstein, Endowed Dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, Professor of Entomology, and Director of the Iowa Agricultural and Home Economics Experiment Station. Dr. Pamela White, Dean of the College of Human Sciences and Professor of Food Science and Human Nutrition. Mr. Luis Rigo Gutierrez, Dean of the College of Design and Professor of Architecture. Dr. Sarah Ryala, Dean of the College of Engineering. James and Catherine Melsa, Professor of Engineering and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Mr. David Spalding, David and Ellen Raisbeck, Endowed Dean of the College of Business and Professor of Finance. Dr. Lisa Nolan, Stephen G. Julesgaard, Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine, Professor of Veterinary Microbiology and Preventive Medicine. Dr. Arnie Hallam, Associate Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dr. Kevin Shalinsky, Professor and President of the Faculty Senate. Ms. Laura Doring, University Registrar. And then the distinguished graduate faculty, please stand. Thank you. And now I'm delighted to introduce the speaker for tonight's graduate commencement ceremony, Dr. Jonathan Wendell. Dr. Wendell is a distinguished professor of liberal arts and sciences here at Iowa State University and chair of the Department of Ecology, Evolution, and Organismal Biology. Dr. Wendell earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan and a master's and doctorate degrees from the University of North Carolina. He joined the Iowa State University faculty in 1986 after serving for 3 years as a USDA Agricultural Research Service geneticist at North Carolina State University. Dr. Wendell studies plants that contain more than 2 sets of chromosomes, both to understand how these plants evolved and to expand our knowledge of plant genetics. In 2012, Dr. Wendell helped lead an international consortium of scientists that mapped the cotton genome. This work has had a major impact on cotton growers around the world, as well as plant biologists and producers of other commercial crops. His efforts have not gone unnoticed in the research community. Dr. Wendell was named a Fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science in 2010. He has also received the Cotton Biotechnology Award and the Outstanding Contributions to Cotton Genomics Award from the International Cotton Genome Initiative. In addition, Dr. Wendell has received numerous honors and awards over the course of his Iowa State career, including awards for outstanding research and for expanding departmental leadership. He is also a master teacher in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and a mentor to many current and former graduate students. Please join me in welcoming Distinguished Professor Jonathan Wendell.
Good evening, graduates. Congratulations and welcome to the finish line. My hat is off to you. I hope you weren't blinded by the glare off my bald dome, but this is because I'm older than dirt. By the way, I actually am older than dirt. The mean age of dirt globally is about 45 years. We know that from radiocarbon dating. But I digress. What a privilege and joy it is for me to be here with you graduates this evening. I hope that you, as well as your parents and families, are all basking in the kind of warm glow that is unique to substantive, long-term accomplishment. I remember being in your shoes. I remember my experience on an evening very much like this evening's. That was over 30 years ago, but I still recall the sense of pride, the mix of pride and sense of completion, maybe tinged with a little bit of insecurity, sometimes edging into anxiety, okay, maybe panic a little bit about a future that I could only partially sense and not control. But here it is over 30 years later into my career, and what a fantastic ride this has been. After all this time, I feel like I have the benefit of some hindsight, that I know something about and can therefore share with you a few thoughts about the arc of a long career. So I am a plant biologist here at Iowa State University, exploring the wonders of plant genetics over there in Bessie Hall. I'm also a distance runner, which I think you might agree tonight is a pretty good metaphor for what you have just been through as a graduate student. So I wish to share with you a few lessons from the long road at the risk of beating a poor metaphor into the ground. To start with, I suspect that for many of you it seems like your degree program has been a marathon, filled with twists and turns and maybe a few potholes, but also many meaningful and beautiful sights along the way. As a father of multiple graduates myself, I understand that for you parents in the audience, the road to this particular finish line has been an even longer journey, and for sometimes maybe an emotional one. As a long-time, long-distance runner, I recognize that I probably could put you to sleep with the many ways that running has been meaningful to me personally and also professionally. But never fear, I'm not going to evangelize about running, because I know for many of you running looks boring, or maybe worse. You may even agree with the observation of Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, who wrote, "I believe that every human has a finite number of heartbeats. I don't intend to waste any of mine running around doing exercises." By the way, another digression, I'm not older than moon dust. A 1-inch deep footprint on the moon would still be detectable after 25,000 years. Or you might feel the same as one of my colleagues, who after seeing me out on the roads one hot summer day, said that running won't make you live longer, it'll just make life seem longer. Okay, hoping that you'll connect to at least a portion of what I have to say, even if you never lace up a pair of running shoes, I wish to now share with you my David Letterman-style top 10 lists about lessons from life, or maybe the arc of a career, that I've learned from running. Number 10, embrace change. I marvel at how what I'm doing now is so utterly different from what I thought I would be doing when I was just starting out, when I was standing in your shoes. I could not have imagined the scientific advances that would so change my perspectives, the wholesale changes to my spectrum of daily duties. To embrace change is empowering, it's enabling, it deserves cultivation. In running, I'm so much slower than I was 20 years ago, but I'm also differently abled and I'm wiser. To quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, people wish to be settled. It is only as far as they are unsettled that there is any hope for them. So embrace change. Number 9, persevere. Succeeding in most anything requires practice, patience, and hard work, as you've all demonstrated in your accomplishments. This also applies to my life as a research scientist, where most of our experiments either fail or fail to provide answers. It took me many years of training in 8 full marathons to become fast enough to qualify for the Boston Marathon, which I ran 16 days ago again. More on that later. Victor Hugo called perseverance the secret of all triumphs. Number 8, enjoy the journey, even its difficulties. This involves a kind of mindfulness, a commitment to cultivate appreciation. Think of the many challenges you have overcome in getting to stand on this stage today or stand on that floor today. Runners, and I hope you, relate to this quote from Socrates, how singular is a thing called pleasure and how curiously related to pain. Yet he who pursues either is generally compelled to take the other. Enjoy the journey, even its challenges. Number 7, and this is one I really like because I continue to learn from it, challenge your perceptions of your own limitations. They may not be real. In many cases, they just turn out to be mental constructs. I've learned this lesson many times out on the road, and this translates to other parts of my life, I find, in my many roles as father, husband, scientist, mentor, department chair. The writer William James said, "Beyond the very extreme of fatigue and distress, we may find amounts of ease and power we never dreamed ourselves to own." Number 6, expect setbacks. Oh, the road is filled with potholes, and sometimes we step in them. Often we jump right out, and the damage is minimal, but at other times they might actually lead to a sprained ankle or something even more serious. As a runner, and in my life, I've had many injuries and taken my share of missteps. As a scientist, I've had to suffer botched experiments, rejected manuscripts. It's always the third reviewer. Declined grant proposals, and all kinds of disappointments. Thomas Edison wrote, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." Number 5, with thanks to John Lennon, get by with a little help from your friends. As a student of distance running, I learned so much from friends and mentors who are willing to share tips and offer advice. I feel I am a part of a running community, and I am nurtured by my fellow enthusiasts. The same is true in our professional lives, right? Where we belong to many different professional circles. Pause to think of how you too have benefited in your journey to this place today from the many who have shared your experiences and ambitions and travails. So embrace your communities. In a similar vein, be a good mentor. That's one of my favorites as well. Maybe more so every year. Maybe as one gets older, it becomes even more important. Maybe become a better mentor as a lifelong goal. How about pausing now, each of you, to reflect on your colleagues, your advisors, members of your committees, your professional communities, the many others who have provided insights and perspectives to your work and helped you end up in this auditorium tonight. You might also reflect on students or others you have had the opportunity to help out, and how much, in fact, you may have gained from those experiences. You may never even know how you have influenced those you have mentored, or how it circles back to positively affect your life. Mentoring is a positive-sum game. Everybody benefits. Number 3, cut the mountain down to size. To those of you who don't know, marathons are 26.2 miles. Well, they're actually 26.22 miles. Well, they're actually 26 miles, 385 yards to be precise, but that's a different story. It's about the same distance as running from here to Ankeny. Maybe to some of you that seems like a long way. How could anyone run that far, let alone an old guy like me? And in my lab, we attack research problems that are very difficult and take many years of struggle to unravel, some of which we've been working on for 15 years. In both of these goals, running has taught me quite literally that the only way to get from one point to the next is one step at a time. If I thought about only the magnitude of the challenge, I would be paralyzed by fear and probably just quit. Instead, I divide the marathon into miles. Anyone can run 1 mile, I just tell myself, and I get to the next one, or sometimes even just to the next telephone pole. The writer Walter Elliott said, "Perseverance is not one long race. It is many short races, one after the other." Number 2, okay, this one's my favorite. Practice gratitude. One of the most humbling experiences a person can have is to witness the heroic acts of those who have overcome life-changing circumstances. As I mentioned, I just returned from Boston, running through a great city devastated by the bombings of 1 year ago. There I was, embracing my community, with the citizens of Boston who are reclaiming their traditional Patriots' Day event. There I was, running along with the injured, the amputees who are completing the marathon on prosthetic legs, and many others in wheelchairs, reclaiming their city and taking charge of their destinies. As someone with 2 sound legs and good health, I practice daily gratitude for this gift. Similarly, in my laboratory and at ISU and in all aspects of my job, I try to remember my many blessings and how privileged I am. And I do my best to be mindful of this and to express appreciation to everybody who contributes. To think they actually pay me to do this job. Shh, don't tell anybody. Cicero wrote 2,000 years ago, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but it's the parent of all others." Isn't that lovely? Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, it's the parent of all others. So practice gratitude. It leads naturally to becoming more giving of yourself. Number 1, find your own way. There was a famous runner-author named George Sheehan, a physician who wrote many books on running, including such titles as Running and Being, and he's regarded in running circles as a leading running philosopher. In one of his books, Sheehan gives this advice: know yourself so that you may live that life peculiar to you. Know yourself so that you may find your play. Your only guide for this, of course, will be your own inner voice. So these are some of my personal lessons from the road about the arc of a long career. And I hope that at least a little of this resonated with each of you in your own way, whether you are a runner or, more likely, if you are not. You are here today because you have already practiced these lessons, completing an immensely challenging goal, a very long race, one step at a time, with perseverance, while building inner strength and capacity to rebound from setbacks, benefiting and learning from the guidance of friends and relatives, hopefully while enjoying the ride and being grateful for its many pleasures. Now you graduate with advanced degrees from this great university. I wonder where the next 30 years will take you. I wish you the best of luck in pursuing all your dreams. Maybe I'll see you out on the road.
Thank you, Dr. Wendell, for your inspirational thoughts and for your outstanding service to education and to this university. We will now hear from Iowa State University's brass ensemble under the direction of Dr. Michael Galimo. The ensemble will perform Cyclone Fantasia, which was arranged by Dr. Galimo especially for this commencement. At this time, I call upon Senior Vice President Provost Dr. Jonathan Wickert for recognizing students graduating with distinction.
I would like to recognize at this time the graduate students who are receiving Teaching and Research Excellence Awards. The students receiving these awards are being recognized tonight for their outstanding teaching and for research accomplishments in a graduate program, and they are wearing cardinal and gold honor cords. Will those students please rise? The faculty and I offer you our sincere congratulations. Well done. Please be seated.
Provost Wickert, I now call upon you for the conferring of degrees.
We shall now proceed with the conferring of graduate degrees. Some degrees will be conferred in absentia. And we'll begin with the conferring of the Doctor of Philosophy degrees. These are the highest degrees that Iowa State University confers. In doing so, I would like to say a few words about the history of the academic attire and the special nature of the hooding ceremony tonight. Academic gowns have been a part of the university experience since the 12th century and the advent of the first European universities. And because these early schools were connected to great cathedrals, like those at Bologna and Chartres, the black gown of the schoolmasters, or scholastics, emulated the somber dignity of the clergy, and it signified a life devoted to learning. In addition, the ample materials of these gowns served to keep the scholars warm in the drafty environments of the medieval universities. Hoods were also functional, like the hood on a monk's habit, while the colors were reserved for masters or teachers rather than the bachelors or the students. Initially, the colors indicated one's discipline, like the green of nature for a degree in medicine. Mortar boards with black or gold tassels and school colors came much, much later. But the clerical formality of the academic gown continues to represent the dedication and nobility of the scholar's vocation. During the hooding ceremony this evening, the degree recipients will be escorted and hooded by their major professors who have worked with them throughout their study for the doctoral degree. The hoods will connect the graduate with a family of scholars throughout history, from all parts of the world, and with Iowa State University. The cardinal doctorate gown and the Iowa State hood worn by the PhDs this evening comprise Iowa State's custom academic attire. Now, the Dean of the Graduate College, Dr. David Holger, will present candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
Candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy will please rise. The Doctor of Philosophy is the university's highest academic degree, awarded only to those who have successfully completed an intensive and demanding course of study whose primary focus is on learning to conduct original research. The final stage of the program is the preparation and defense of a dissertation that describes the outcome of a major research project. To prepare for that project, the student must have gained expertise and skills in a particular discipline and must have thoroughly explored its existing knowledge base. Those who receive doctorates today have demonstrated that they are truly experts in their fields, whose research has already significantly contributed to human knowledge. The hood they assume symbolizes their admission to the exclusive ranks of those who have earned the respect associated with the title Doctor of Philosophy. President Leith, These candidates have completed all required courses, demonstrated their ability in research, and passed all examinations. They are recommended by the graduate faculty and the Faculty Senate and are approved by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
In recognition of the satisfactory completion of your respective programs in the graduate college, by the authority delegated to me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with its accompanying rights, privileges, and obligations. The diploma, now to be placed in your hands, and the hood with which you will be invested, shall forever be the testimony of your high academic rank. Congratulations.
PhD graduates, please be seated. Faculty marshals will dismiss you by row to approach the stage. Linda Michelle Britton Abbott, Marshal in Education, presented by Dr. Marshall. Ginwa Alamin, Major in Applied Linguistics and Technology, presented by Dr. Levis. Saleh Ali Al-Bashrawi, Major in Applied Mathematics, presented by Dr. Martin. Jason Anderson, Major in Chemical Engineering, presented by Dr. Shanks. Neha Aurora, Major in Analytical Chemistry, presented by Dr. Smith. Ivan Mauricio Ayala Diaz, co-majors in Crop Production and Physiology and Plant Breeding, presented by Dr. Gardner. Jonathan Mark Balzati, Major in Rhetoric and Professional Communication, presented by Dr. Kostelnik. Nathan Lewis Bando, Major in Biochemistry, presented by Dr. DiSpirito. Cameron Carl Beatty, Major in Education, presented by Dr. Kroom. Walter Dean Bennett, Major in Industrial Engineering, presented by Dr. Olofsson. Carrie Ann Marie Bergner, Major in Psychology, presented by Dr. Armstrong. Joydeep Bhattacharya, Major in Electrical Engineering, presented by Dr. Biswas. Jennifer Marie Benning, Major in Biochemistry, presented by Dr. Amarasingh. Derek Charles Blythe, major in statistics, presented by Dr. Dorman. Matthew Thomas Brewer, major in biomedical sciences, presented by Dr. Chang. Kurt Ryan Brorson, major in physical chemistry, presented by Dr. Gordon. Ahmad Safan Bujunk, co-majors in agricultural and biosystems engineering and biorenewable resources and technology, presented by Dr. Brum. Ashley Faye Buss, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Williams. Alex Preston Bird, major in agricultural education, presented by Dr. Anderson. John Anthony Carr, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Chidari. Jack McCausland Caraher, major in inorganic chemistry, presented by Dr. Bakat. Dan Chen, major in toxicology, presented by Dr. Reddy. Lee Chen, major in mechanical engineering, presented by Dr. McDonald. Ruchi Chen, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Constant. Hathairat Chakdawipanich, major in ecology and evolutionary biology, presented by Dr. Clark. Nancy Christensen, major in hospitality management, presented by Dr. Arendt. Yuri Chung, major in applied linguistics and technology, presented by Dr. Chappelle. Marilyn Ann Cornish, major in psychology, presented by Dr. Wade. David Correll, major in business and technology, presented by Dr. Martins and Dr. Suzuki. John Watson Doudna, major in ecology and evolutionary biology, presented by Dr. Danielson. J.C. Lee Downey, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Gudmundson. Amani Il Gohari, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Neihart. Craig Jeremy Erickson, major in mathematics, presented by Dr. Hogbin. David Roberto Escudero, major in mechanical engineering, presented by Dr. Heindel. Catherine Espinoza, major in plant breeding, presented by Dr. Palmer and Dr. Gogi. Mohammed Fotui, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Ashlock. Terry Burdell Galswick, major in education, presented by Dr. Lanin. Rohit Kumar Gale, major in agricultural engineering, presented by Dr. Supir. Shivani Garg, major in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology, presented by Dr. Niccolo. Jar Chi Ge, major in economics, presented by Dr. Tesfastian. Megan Teresa Gillette, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Lohman. Aaron Donald Gross, major in toxicology, presented by Dr. Coates. Xin Guang, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. Nicolau. Yijin Guo, major in chemistry, presented by Dr. Vela. Rui Han, major in analytical chemistry, presented by Dr. Vela. Sarah Kate Hargreaves, major in ecology and evolutionary biology, presented by Dr. Halverson. Tammy Harmon Reichelt, major in education, presented by Dr. Ebers. Andrew Justin Harrison, major in business and technology, presented by Dr. Menike. Katrin Hollinger, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Selsby. Aja Holmes, major in education, presented by Dr. Robinson. Guanjing Hu, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Wendell. Peter Joel Huffman, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Beckman. Jia Young Wang, major in apparel, merchandising, and design, presented by Dr. Damhorst. Lori Marie Ihrig, major in education, presented by Dr. Olson. Pedram Jahangiri, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Christie. Lori Jarman, major in education, presented by Dr. Robinson. Hochol Joan, major in economics, presented by Dr. Herriges. Yongji Ji, major in economics, presented by Dr. Herriges. Omesh Johar, major in psychology, presented by Dr. Krizen. J. Stephen Johnson, major in nutritional sciences, presented by Dr. Baumgard. Jeffrey Wayne Johnson, major in education, presented by Dr. Ebers. Ryan Timothy Johnson, major in mathematics, presented by Dr. Basak. Hee Sung Jun, major in applied linguistics and technology, presented by Dr. Chappelle. Lucas John Kramer, major in mathematics, presented by Dr. Martin. Najib Kushiel, major in bio and renewable resources and technology, presented by Dr. Kong. Mark A. Langen, major in industrial and agricultural technology, presented by Dr. Freeman. Nilson Lasso Rivas, major in ecology and evolutionary biology, presented by Dr. Raich. Minjung Lee, major in apparel, merchandising, and design, presented by Dr. Karpova. Judith Myers-Levings, major in agricultural education, presented by Dr. Ritalik. Ji Lee, co-majors in agricultural engineering and human-computer interaction, presented by Dr. Tang. Li Li, major in rhetoric and professional communication, presented by Dr. Kostelnik. Harris Chu Hao Lin, major in computer science, presented by Dr. Hanavar. Meng Shen Jenny Lin, major in business and technology, presented by Dr. Cross. Sherbin Lin, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Ashlock. Eric Andrew Lawrence, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Fanous. Duan Trioti Loy, major in veterinary microbiology, presented by Dr. Bartholome. Sheila Adele Lozano, major in education, presented by Dr. Ebers. Jill Ashley Madden, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Keating. Sibongile Mafu, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Andreatti. Rakesh Mahadevapuram, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Chowdhury. Deepak Mayanali, major in analytical chemistry, presented by Dr. Smith. Navneet Malani, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Kim. Joseph Deng Malual, co-majors in sociology and sustainable agriculture, presented by Dr. Mazur. Paul Michael Mangiamele, major in human-computer interaction, presented by Dr. Nolan. Pedro Martinez, major in immunobiology, presented by Dr. Peterson. Michael Thomas McCarville, major in entomology, presented by Dr. O'Neill. Shannon McCrocklin, major in applied linguistics and technology, presented by Dr. Levis. Ashley Rink Merritz, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Melby. Jeffrey Conrath Miller, major in psychology, presented by Dr. Krizan. Renee Amber Murray, major in psychology, presented by Dr. Blankenship. Michael Nolan, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Shanks. Michael Carl Norris, major in education, presented by Dr. Ebers. Jackson Unteba, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Keating. Saulo Orezaga, major in applied mathematics, presented by Dr. Hu. Monique Perez Garcia, major in animal physiology, presented by Dr. Johnson. Sarah Christine Pierce, major in nutritional sciences, presented by Dr. Gabler. Yang Peng, major in computer science, presented by Dr. Chang. Joseph William Peatfish, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Hillier. Anisha Nicola Peters, major in human-computer interaction, presented by Dr. Meneke. Natapol Ploima Kiam, major in applied mathematics, presented by Dr. Liu. Maxim Priparov, major in applied mathematics, presented by Dr. Liu. Peter Michael Ralston, major in business and technology, presented by Dr. Crum and Dr. Graw. Lisa May Ryherd, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Neppel and Dr. Hughes Belding. Herman Singh Sahota, major in computer engineering, presented by Dr. Kumar. Rungrat Sayasombat, major in veterinary microbiology, presented by Dr. Blivich. Maria Victoria Sanz Fernandez, major in nutritional sciences, presented by Dr. Baumgard. AJ Shaw, major in agricultural and biosystems engineering, presented by Dr. Dar. Mohammed Saad bin Shahid, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Hallmark. Lucas John Showman, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. Nicolau. Thea Sinha, major in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology, presented by Dr. Shogren Kanak. Katie Marie Smith, major in nutritional sciences, presented by Dr. Campbell. Ji Hyung Sun, major in apparel, merchandising, and design, presented by Dr. Damhorst. Lissa Danielle Stapleton, major in education, presented by Dr. Kroon. Nathan Merrill Stokes, major in hospitality management, presented by Dr. Arendt. Sujit Sukumaran, major in mechanical engineering, presented by Dr. Kong. Arunachalam Swaminathan, major in business and technology, presented by Dr. Ramaswamy. Sheng Tang, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Williams. Elham Tavasoli, major in chemistry, presented by Dr. Vela. Rory Sean Telemico, major in ecology and evolutionary biology, presented by Dr. Jansen. Bean Tong, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Schaefer. Punit Tulpule, major in mechanical engineering, presented by Dr. Kelkar. Christine Larson Twait, major in education, presented by Dr. Lannon. Miriam Brown Tyson, major in education, presented by Dr. Ebbers. Byron Allen Upton, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. Nicolau. Lorimar Vendusculo, major in agricultural and biosystems engineering, presented by Dr. Kalita Forbes. Daniel Curtis Venerberg, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Constant. Divina Vijayendran, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Bonning. Randall John Voss, major in horticulture, presented by Dr. Noneke. Rasna Rani Walia, major in bioinformatics and computational biology, presented by Dr. Dobbs and Dr. Hanavar. Shul Wong, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Hong. Shuhao Wong, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Taylor and Dr. Wong. Nathan Joel Warnberg, major in mathematics, presented by Dr. Hogbin. Robert Dennis Watkins, major in rhetoric and professional communication, presented by Dr. Kostelnik. Seth James Wenner, major in microbiology, presented by Dr. Halverson. Casey Daniel White, major in rhetoric and professional communication, presented by Dr. Blakey. Emma Marie Hamilton White, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Anderson and Dr. Martin. Cynthia Lynn Wiley, major in human-computer interaction, presented by Dr. Satterfield. Miko Wilford, major in psychology, presented by Dr. Wells and Dr. Chan. Azure Giju Kasa Woda Senbet, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Zhong. Dajing Wu, major in nuclear physics, presented by Dr. Sanchez. Hongxiao Wu, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Constant. Chan Shi, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. Andriati. Wei Shi, major in chemistry, presented by Dr. Miller. Peng Shu, major in physical chemistry, presented by Dr. Gordon. Song Chen Shu, major in organic chemistry, presented by Dr. Sadao. Zheng Yang, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Melby. Ka Yang, major in computer engineering, presented by Dr. Chao. Xu Yang, co-majors in applied mathematics and statistics, presented by Dr. Chu. Julie Blazer Yankee, major in education, presented by Dr. Evans. Iris Michelle Young Clark, major in family and consumer sciences and education, presented by Dr. Boselman. Xiao Chun Chong, major in materials science and engineering, presented by Dr. Constant. Xia Chung, major in genetics, presented by Dr. Serb. Yanan Chung, co-majors in mechanical engineering and biorenewable resources and technology, presented by Dr. Kong. Chen Zhao, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Geiger. Peihan Drong, major in industrial engineering, presented by Dr. Stone. Wen Chu, major in statistics, presented by Dr. Vardaman.
Congratulations, doctors. Candidates for master's degrees, please rise. The master's degree is awarded to those who have successfully completed an intensive course of study in a particular discipline. Reflecting the diversity of ways in which advanced knowledge and skills can be obtained, the university awards a variety of master's degrees with specific names and expectations. In many fields, a master's degree represents the highest academic achievement, and degree holders are accorded full recognition as practitioners of the art. The master's degree often involves research and the preparation of a thesis or creative component that demonstrates an ability to conduct original inquiry. All of those who receive their degrees today have thus demonstrated dedication to learning and to enhancing their abilities to contribute to society. Their degrees demonstrate that they have truly mastered a complex and demanding body of knowledge. President Leith, these candidates have completed the requirements prescribed by their respective degree programs. They are recommended by the graduate faculty and the Faculty Senate and are approved by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, for their master's degrees.
In recognition of the satisfactory completion of your respective programs in the Graduate College, by the authority delegated to me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer upon you the master's degree with its accompanying rights, privileges, and obligations. Congratulations to all of you.
Master's graduates, please be seated. Faculty marshals will dismiss you by row to approach the stage. Oh, careful. Deidre Elizabeth Sick, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Celinda M. Stamey, Masters of Fine Arts in Integrated Visual Arts.
Melissa Ann Spencer, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Samuel Brian Poe, Masters in Science in Human-Computer Interaction.
Danielle M. Peterson, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Laura Sue Gloss, Masters of Science in Sociology.
Alexandria Judith Budd, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Belinda Ann Wolverton, Masters of Arts in Graphics Design.
Christina Marie Collins, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Levi John Powell, Masters of Science in Industrial and Agricultural Technology.
Emma Elaine Chalupsky, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Jeffrey Clark Askey, Masters of Science in Agricultural and Biological Engineering.
Ian Thomas Jering, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Anne Christine Klein, Masters of Science in Agriculture and Biosystems Engineering.
Jonathan Charles Hill, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Nathan William Rissas, Masters of Science in Agriculture and Biological Engineering.
Seth Thomas Streeter, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Cynthia K. Bogie, Masters of Education in Education.
Joshua Daniel Hones, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Douglas Anders Wilhelm, Masters of Engineering in Agricultural and Biological Systems Engineering.
Sarah Nicole Stark, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Chelsea K. Bernard, Masters of Arts in Interior Design.
Sai Kumar Ramaswamy, Master of Science in Industrial and Agricultural Technology.
Yuri Bai, Masters of Science in Electrical Engineering.
Douglas Colin Winkie, Master of Arts in History.
Michelle Lee Banwell, Masters of Education and Education.
Michael M. Belding III, Mastery of Arts in History.
Susan Schroeder Eldridge, Masters of Education in Education.
Amy Elizabeth Birch, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Jianing Cao, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Haley Marie Dillon, Master of Science in Materials Science and Engineering.
Yandi Huang, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Andrew John Fry, Master of Science in Agronomy.
Weiying Yu, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Michael Joseph Price, Master of Science in Statistics.
Xikang Zhao, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
William J. Reiter-Marolf, Master of Science in Wildlife Ecology.
Jared Michael Casey Hayes, Masters of Science in Computer Science.
Bart Jason Wink, Master of Science in Agronomy.
Tiana Sue Allen, Masters of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Xiaojin Li, Master of Science in Civil Engineering and Biorenewable Resources and Technology.
Supibi Ilali Abordat, Masters of Science in Chemistry.
Zhu Chendong, Master of Engineering in Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering.
Shannon Marie McKinney, Masters of Science in Wildlife Ecology.
Shashank Reddy Mavururu, Master of Engineering in Computer Engineering.
Hong Lu, Masters of Science in Material Science and Engineering.
Rachana Shri Koneru, Master of Science in Computer Science.
Zenji Yang, Masters of Science, Material Science and Engineering.
Ashley Elizabeth Paddock, Master of Agriculture in Professional Agriculture.
Leonid Roniski, Masters of Engineering, Computer Engineering.
Melissa Ann Johnson, Master of Science in Psychology.
Benjamin Thomas Magstedt, Masters of Science in Electrical Engineering.
Todd Allen Atherley, Master of Science in Microbiology.
Samuel Jason Hall, Masters of Science in Agricultural and Biological Systems Engineering.
Kaglar Yildirim, Master of Science in Human-Computer Interaction.
Brenton John Wilson, Masters of Business Administration in Business Administration.
Bobby L. Newman, Master of Arts in Political Science.
Lindsay Marie Demro, Master's degree in Accounting.
Hallie Madison Golay, Master of Arts in Political Science.
Rachel Lee Larson, Masters of Business Administration and in Business Administration.
Brian David Clement, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Tanzil Rahman, Masters of Science in Computer Science.
J. Edward Toll, Master of Engineering in Electrical Engineering.
Alan D. Hardy, Masters of Science in Interdisciplinary Graduate Studies.
Tyler Blaine Johnson, Master of Science in Computer Engineering.
Nicole Marie Gassman, Masters of Engineering and Mechanical Engineering.
Monica Rose Degnan, Master of Science in Statistics.
Jordan Lee Hansen, Masters of Science in Industrial Engineering.
Mahesh Bandari, Master of Science in Immunobiology.
Laura Mabel Anderson, Masters of Accounting in Accounting.
Roshani Mala, Master of Science in Sustainable Agriculture.
Joshua Timothy Anderson, Masters of Science in Soil Science.
Richard Aaron Soigling, Master of Science in Agronomy.
Sugathi Salvardas, Masters of Science in Aerospace Engineering.
Dave Dwayne Kern, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Bharathra Primaratine, Masters of Science in Aerospace Engineering.
Kayla Renee Kleihauer, Master of Education in Education.
Bethany May Melendi, Masters of Arts in Anthropology.
Kosi Komik Sesu, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering.
Mark Van Wilden, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering and Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering.
Jamie Marie Fath, Master of Education in Education.
Kevin Andrew Wentz, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Jillian Elizabeth Cross, Master of Education in Education.
Ronald Camilo Reyes Hernandez, Masters of Science in Architecture.
Melanie Haight Hare, Master of Science in Animal Breeding and Genetics.
Johnny G. Elsevar Zuyanga, Masters of Community and Regional Planning, Community and Regional Planning.
Kendra Alicia Allen, Master of Science in Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering.
Carlos Gilberto Thanasaka, Masters of Science in Soil Science.
Rebecca Blanchett, Master of Arts in English.
Shelby Ann Miller, Masters of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Jana Marie Dorman, Master of Arts in Rhetoric, Composition, and Professional Communication.
Lindsay Joe Hoffman, Masters of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Jacob Lee Niederhauser, Master of Arts in Graphic Design.
Hannah Laban Ostrander, Masters of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Patrick Ryan Holloway, Master of Science in Agronomy.
Molly Margaret Smith, Masters of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Alyssa Sidney Anderegg, Master of Science in Diet and Exercise.
Stephanie Kristen Enlow, Masters of Science in Sustainable Agriculture.
Theodore Lister Stroop, Master of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning.
Rema Ann Cooley, Masters of Science in Forestry.
Chen Yu Chong, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Roberts John Nitz, Masters of Engineering and Computer Engineering.
Wen Wong, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Maddie Nicole Hansen, Masters of Science in Animal Science.
Shen Luo, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Jennifer Eleanor Fredden, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Min Sun Kim, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Richard Joseph Connell, Jr., Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Ginu Susan Barghese, Master of Science in Computer Science.
Tyson Otto Friday, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Krishna Amar, Master of Science in Computer Science.
Michael David Bacallo, Masters of Engineering in Engineering Management.
Jessica Marie McNamara, Master of Science in Human Development and Family Studies.
Geetha Sankar Iyer, Masters of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and Environment.
Molly Joan Heinz, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Andrew Donald Payton, Masters of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and Environment.
Jessica Ann Hebert, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Lance Michael Sacknoff, Masters of Arts in English.
Guang Han, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Linda C. Weldon, Masters of Science in Industrial and Agricultural Technology.
Jacqueline Faye Tweeton, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Matthew L. Cooker, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Jenny Ann Lichty, Master of Science in Agricultural Education.
Ashley Ann Haynes, Masters of Arts in English.
Viraj N. Solanki, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Matthew Allen Hoffman, Masters of Agriculture and Professional Agriculture.
Babak G. Shaw, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Kylie M. Jacobson, Masters of Arts in Rhetoric, Composition, and Professional Communication.
Alyssa Marie Brown, Master of Science in Materials Science and Engineering.
Donald James Kearney, Masters of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Aram Tariq Munir, Master of Science in Sociology.
Robert Eugene Lorenzen, Masters of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Laura Watson Rink, Master of Education in Education.
Bentley Morris Wingert, Masters of Science in Biochemistry.
Shauna Lynn Smith, Master of Education in Education.
Kendra Sue Everest, Masters of Education in Education.
Navaz Ibrahim, Master of Architecture in Architecture.
Brittany Rose Towes, Masters of Science, Ecology and Evolutionary Biology.
Michael Charles Owen, Master of Architecture in Architecture.
Nathan Allen Kleppe, Masters of Science in Material Science and Engineering.
Carl Joseph Kerps, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Ashley Lynn Richardson, Masters of Education in Education.
Kate Dillon Hunter, Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Molly K. Larson, Masters of Education in Education.
John Anthony Raid, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Anne Karina Ramos Gonzalez, Masters of Engineering in Education.
Vijay Ganta Lamohini, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Chelsea Lynn Romiller, Masters of Education in Education.
Rex Michael Crone, Jr., Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Angela Jo Streggy, Masters of Education in Education.
Ibarra Cordovilla Yaculbe, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Kelsey Marie Nation, Masters of Education in Education.
Aaron David Whitner, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Casey Lee Von Hoden, Masters of Education in Education.
Lynette Ray Talene, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Danielle Jo Paris, Masters of Education in Education.
Benjamin Joseph McCarty, Master of Education in Education.
Jennifer Ann McDermott, Masters of Education in Education.
Ryan Michael McConnell, Master of Education in Education.
Jennifer Jean Roberts, Master's of Education in Education.
Ethan Richard Russum, Master of Education in Education.
Erin Francis Tody, Master's of Arts in Teaching English as a Second Language, Applied Linguistics.
Scott Douglas Brody, Master of Education in Education.
Teresa Ann Orlowski, Master's of Arts in Teaching English as a Second Language, Applied Linguistics.
Wilfredo Galarza Jr., Master of Education in Education.
Leslie Day, Masters of Architecture in Architecture.
Lucas Rafael A. Mutty, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
Olivia Catherine Wilwert, Masters of Engineering in Chemical Engineering.
Clinton Clay Driftmeyer, Master of Education in Education.
Dervon, Masters of Education in Education.
Corey Michael Goldsmith, Master of Education in Education.
Megan Aurora Elaine Velasquez, Masters of Education in Education.
Nicole Sue McCready, Master of Education in Education.
Thomas Anthony Arce, Masters of Education in Education.
Emily Beth Behrens, Master of Education in Education.
Derek J. Moeller, Masters of Education in Education.
Patrick Brian Rabbit, Master of Education in Education.
Catherine M. Thomas, Masters of Education in Education.
Jessica Lee Halgo, Master of Education in Education.
Catherine A. Claudy, Masters of Education in Education.
Audrey Lee Watson, Master of Education in Education.
Ju Dawadekar, Masters of Science in Human Development and Family Studies.
Tricia Lynn Kurt, Master of Education in Education.
Atita Basudev Shanba, Masters of Science in Industrial Engineering.
Dania Marie Wilson, Master of Education in Education.
Lijing Katai Gahavan, Masters of Science in Industrial Engineering.
Carla Elena Martinez Quezada, Master of Arts in Teaching English as a Second Language, Applied Linguistics.
Pratit Prashant Wag, Masters of Engineering in Material Science and Engineering.
Scott Gregory Surik, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Dan Dong Wong, Masters of Science, Material Science and Engineering.
Darren Richard Packbush, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Harris Hondugo, Masters of Science in Material Science and Engineering.
Julia Whitson, Master of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning, Master of Science in Sustainable Agriculture.
Jennifer Adam Kaitjus, Masters of Education in Education.
Lydia Ray Levinson, Master of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning and Master of Science in Sustainable Agriculture.
Jennifer Elizabeth Whalen, Masters of Education in Education.
John Lee Jung, Master of Architecture in Architecture, Master of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning.
Joseph Wilfred Drahos, Masters of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning.
Shin Tong, Master of Community and Regional Planning in Community and Regional Planning.
Dustin John Shao, Masters of Science in Agriculture and Biosystems Engineering.
Samuel Gary Bennett, Master of Science in Statistics.
Michael Drew Kurtz, Masters of Science in Aerospace Engineering.
Benjamin Andrew Moser, Master of Science in Meteorology.
Ron B., Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Lydia Marie Bronner, Master of Science in Interdisciplinary Graduate Studies.
Tara Pardue Laki, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Ashish Daga, Master of Science in Computer Engineering.
Sarah Louise Wiley, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Yili Mong, Master of Science in Soil Science.
Tamor Ahmed, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Dun Ching Yu, Master of Science in Sociology.
Moon Banerjee, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Lisa Marie Nolting, Master of Family and Consumer Sciences in Family and Consumer Sciences.
Jiming Zhong, Masters of Accounting in Accounting.
Cody Daniel Case, Master of Business Administration in Business Administration.
Xiao Lu, Masters of Accounting in Accounting.
Mohammed El Malawi, Master of Engineering in Electrical Engineering.
Andrew William Kaler, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Firas A. Al-Shalabi, Master of Architecture in Architecture.
Luke J. Shepard, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
George Elias Busab, Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Jennifer Ray Savitz, Masters of Science in Food Science and Technology.
Bei Fei Wong, Master of Science in Computer Science.
Ryan Allen Wheeler, Masters of Engineering and Systems Engineering.
Xiao Wei Wong, Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering.
Shashank Ravi, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Liu Hui Guo, Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Edward Roski, Masters of Engineering and Civil Engineering.
Gregory John Simon, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Raghu Rangaru, Masters of Science in Information Systems.
Harikrishnan Kesavan Nair, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Fei Wang, Masters of Science in Veterinary Microbiology.
Charles William Ripley, Master of Arts in English.
Jiatong Zhang, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Xuan Zhan, Master of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Wei Miao, Masters of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Jamie Renee Hauser, Master of Education in Education.
Shibing Zhao, Masters of Engineering in Electrical Engineering.
Dustin Andrew Borer, Master of Engineering in Systems Engineering.
Liu Yi Wang, Masters of Engineering in Industrial Engineering.
Ning Zhang, Master of Science in Geology.
Ying Xu, Masters of Science in Hospitality Management.
John Jesse Hoyt, Master of Science in Geology.
Ling Guang, Masters of Science in Hospitality Management.
Ashan Charlotte Moore, Master of Education in Education.
Yura Han, Masters of Science in Hospitality Management.
Jody Ann Thompson, Master of Arts in Rhetoric, Composition, and Professional Communication.
Meng Dao Ma, Masters of Science in Computer Engineering.
Dana Michael Van Sambeek, Master of Science in Animal Science.
Miao Yu, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Christian J. Reyes Pintor, Master of Architecture in Architecture.
Ting Ting Ren, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Matthew David Hyman, Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Yishang Li, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Alexander M. Butchler, Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Bo Yang, Masters of Engineering in Civil Engineering.
Stephen Michael Anderson, Master of Science in Kinesiology.
Liangwei Qing, Masters of Accounting in Accounting.
Benjamin David Carr, Master of Science in Agricultural Meteorology.
Rutam Gurong, Masters of Engineering in Systems Engineering and Computer Engineering.
Li Xing Gu Sr., Master of Accounting in Accounting.
Samuel James Anderson, Masters of Science in Plant Pathology.
Jalal Uddin, Master of Science in Sociology.
Yifi Zhang, Masters of Arts in Political Science.
Chanmi Wang, Master of Science in Apparel Merchandising and Design.
Shangyu Song, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Youngji Li, Master of Science in Apparel Merchandising and Design.
Xingzhui Wu, Masters of Science in Civil Engineering.
Purvita Haridas, Master of Science in Computer Engineering.
Eduardo Rubio III, Masters of Science in Human-Computer Interaction.
Anirudh Pulela, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Danielle Lee Johnson, Master of Business Administration in Business Administration. Kyungwon Min, Master of Science in Horticulture. Jatin Sharma, Master of Science in Computer Science. Kirsten Alicia Shadle, Master of Science in Economics.
Congratulations to all of our graduates.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, President and CEO of the Iowa State University Alumni Association, to welcome you as the newest alumni of Iowa State University.
The baby of 10, farm kid, married my sixth grade sweetheart, spent 15 years here at Iowa State as the alumni director, started on my PhD in June of 2010. My wife suffered a brain aneurysm in December of 2012. I was then diagnosed with prostate cancer in March of 2013. My son graduated in May of that same year, and then my daughter was married in June. That's my story. You too have a story. But tonight, we offer congratulations, and I want to add to that, congratulations, classmates. You see, on the road to your master's or your PhD, there were times where life just unfolded. But tonight we can say that we did it. We are now alumni of Iowa State University. But here is the more exciting news. You are now mine. You see, you entered this facility this evening as students of Iowa State University. You will leave this building as alumni of Iowa State University, some of us with masters and some of us with our doctorates. I truly am thrilled that we are classmates, especially knowing that you will be there for me when we return to celebrate our 50-year reunion in 2064. But I want you to keep in mind, I will be 101, and I might need your help getting around. Tonight, we join more than 233,000 other Iowa State alumni who live in all 99 counties of Iowa, the 50 states, as well as the District of Columbia in the U.S., and more than 148 other countries. In other words, you will soon learn that Iowa Staters are everywhere. So make sure you identify yourself as an Iowa Stater by putting something Iowa State on your vehicle. And I'm going to suggest that that's an Alumni Association membership decal. As well as put something Iowa State in your place of work, in your home, your apartment, your office, and wear Iowa State logoed items whenever possible. You see, I want you to use every opportunity you can to make yourself and Iowa State visible. These are just a few quick ways to make those unexpected Iowa State connections. Now that you're alumni of Iowa State, I'm also expecting 5 things of you as you transition from the university. Become a volunteer in your community. It's what Iowa Staters do. Come back and visit campus. Keep up to date and keep us up to date on where you are and how you're doing. Stay involved with your college or serve as an advisor for a club you were active in while you were a student here at Iowa State. But help us on our legislative matters, student recruitment, mentoring, and hiring future graduates. And if I haven't mentioned it once, it may happen again, join the Alumni Association. You see, we want you to become a member so you can have access to the online directory that will put you in contact with Iowa Staters living in your community, employed at the place where you will work, studying in the university where you will be doing graduate or professional studies, or maybe even where you're vacationing. We want you to become a member so you can start receiving Visions Magazine, the official alumni publication, Newsflash, the biweekly electronic newsletter, as well as the award-winning events calendar. These items are benefits of your membership designed to keep you informed about and visually connected to the university and to other Iowa Staters. You will want to join so you will have access to the local alumni clubs and the number of sports bars designated as cyclone friendly. But there are so many other benefits available to you, like local and national discounts, access to alumni events, networking tools, and so forth. But in closing, dues are only $30, and many of you can join tonight because I saw your smartphones. And since I am already a life member, I have a special deal for my classmates. You see, I'm also competitive. I want our class to be the class with the highest number of new graduates who become Alumni Association members. To do this, we need to start tonight. So, what I need you to do is that if you get a chance tonight, go to isualum.org/join. I got permission from my wife to do this. For the first 10 people who sign up, My wife and I will also pay your second-year membership because I want you for at least 2 more years. Okay? So let's put our class on the map. You've already put yourselves on the map. Keep Iowa State on the map. Your Alumni Association, staff, and board, as well as the entire university, looks forward to serving you. Please stay in touch. Good night, Godspeed, and you are now Cyclones for life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and congratulations on earning your PhD this evening. We are now nearing the completion of our spring semester graduate commencement ceremony. I want to again thank our commencement speaker, Dr. Jonathan Wendell, for his remarks and for his outstanding contributions as a faculty member and as a scholar. I also want to extend my personal congratulations to all of the graduates, recipients of advanced degrees from Iowa State University. We're all extremely proud of you and what you have accomplished. The diploma you have received is from one of the nation's finest educational institutions and leading research universities. Iowa State University is dedicated to the highest levels of academic excellence, and your diploma is a symbol of your success in achieving the high standards of excellence that this institution has established for recipients of its advanced degrees. Display it with pride and use it with pride, for it is now the symbol of your own academic excellence and achievement. Now, before we close, we wish to recognize the hard work of many others who made this day possible: faculty, staff, family members, and the many friends who have supported these graduates. I'm going to ask the graduates to now please rise, look to your family and friends in the audience, and thank them for their support. And now I ask the audience to please rise. I ask you in the audience, the family and friends of these accomplished graduates of this great university, to show them your support one more time. Now, before we close this commencement, I want to take an opportunity to recognize Dr. Daniel Robinson. Daniel, will you please stand? Dr. Robinson is a university professor and co-chief faculty marshal. Dr. Robinson is retiring from Iowa State University after many years of service and has contributed to commencement for 27 years as a faculty marshal, and the last 10 years as one of our lead marshals. Thank you, Daniel. Now, if you'll please remain standing as we near the end of the commencement ceremony, and remain standing as the platform party recesses. Dr. Robinson will carry the university mace. Thank you again for being part of this very important and significant occasion. And now, with the singing of the Bells of Iowa State by Grace Warren, I pronounce the Spring 2014 Graduate College Commencement at a close.
Please join me in the singing of the Bells of Iowa State. You will find the words on the back of your program.
And for crown of golden we see you tomorrow. We start playing at 1 o'clock. The event starts at 1:30. Okay.